Hey everyone, this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you by StockX. And you know what I've been getting into recently is watches, collecting watches over the last year. I've developed a bit of a collection, and the hardest thing about buying watches secondhand is you just can't trust anybody, especially on the internet. It's easy to fake things, fake photographs and stuff. And so if you're into watches and you want to buy them online, check out StockX. Here's how it works. It is the first online stock market of things for high-demand consumer products, including sneakers, watches, and handbags. StockX connects buyers and sellers using the same methodology as the world's stock markets, an anonymous live bid-ask market. All products are physically authenticated by StockX. Let me say it again. All products are physically authenticated by StockX. So if you buy something on the internet, if you buy something on StockX, the seller will send it to StockX themselves. You then send your money to StockX themselves. They have authenticators that make sure that what you're getting is real, is exactly what you're paying for, and it's in the correct condition. And then they send the seller their money, send you your product. It works brilliantly. I've used it myself as a customer. They also offer transparency of data, including real-time market pricing, in-depth market analysis, individual portfolio tracking, historical sales and volume metrics, so you know where the curves are going on these high-value products. That means no stressing about shady buyers and sellers, no lengthy descriptions, and no blurry pictures to decipher. All the watches are in excellent or better condition. All you have to worry about is finding the watch you want and placing a bid you feel comfortable with. StockX makes buying and selling watches online a lot better. Trust me, give it a try yourself at StockX.com/smoking. That's StockX.com/smoking. This episode is also brought to you by Stamps.com. Listen, nowadays you can get almost anything on demand. You can call a car to your house, you can order food, you can get movies, anything. Like this podcast, it's all on demand. Listen where you want, when it's convenient for you. Did you know you can also do that with the post office? Right? You don't have to go to the post office anymore. You can get postage on demand. That works super well for people like me. I ship out t-shirts and stickers and all kinds of stuff from here at our studio, and I print out the postage here and then just drop it in the box or leave it in the lobby of our office for the mailman to come get it. It's easy. With Stamps.com, you can access all the services of the post office right from your desk at your home office. Buy and print real U.S. postage for any letter or any package. It's all available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You decide you got to send a package at 3 in the morning on a Saturday, boom, click, print, mail, you're done. Stamps.com will even send you a digital scale. You can weigh your letters and packages and print out the exact amount of postage every time. Now, use code TIRE for a free 4-week trial. Includes postage and a digital scale. Oh yeah, don't wait. Go to Stamps.com right now. Before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in TIRE. Hear that again? Go to Stamps.com and click on that microphone at the top of the homepage, type in TIRE. Stamps.com, enter TIRE, and you get a 4-week trial, including postage and a digital scale from your friends at Stamps.com. All right, on this episode of the podcast, we've got a living legend, a man whose tuner cars were so good, they're not even tuner cars. He's his own manufacturer now and has been for quite some time. Maker, designer, creator of some of the fastest Porsches on the planet. Mr. Alois Ruf is in the building on this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast.
How many people lived in the town you grew up in?
2,200 people.
Wow.
Small.
We're already a bigger town.
I guess for Germany, that is on the bigger side.
It's a borough. We have a couple of suburbs that used to be in the independent villages, which are now part of Pfaffenhausen as well.
Is Pfaffenhausen like a conglomerate, for lack of a better term, of towns and villages?
Yes, four small townships got into the bigger township of Pfaffenhausen.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Wow, 2,200. That's just a little bigger than my high school. My high school is 1,400 people.
Sure.
Alois Ruf, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the show, sir. And welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
I'm happy to be back in my hometown.
Yeah. Is this your home? You consider LA your hometown?
Well, it became my hometown 48 years ago.
Really?
Yes, I lived here in LA.
Where in LA did you live?
Just around the corner.
From here?
Yes, in Redondo Beach.
No way. You had a shop or you were just hanging out? What were you doing?
I was sent to the University of Life, And my dad wanted to make sure that I learn English. And to learn about the Americans, their way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on that.
Redondo Beach is a good...
Just fry everything. How old were you when you lived here?
I was 20.
Okay. Oh man! Yeah. So, and this was what year are we talking?
1970.
Oh my God! This is perfect. 20 years old, Southern California, 1970.
Yeah, California just switched to blue license plates.
Oh man, perfect time from blacks to the blues.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. And what were you doing while you were here? Just hanging out?
No, it was not that easy. I had a lot of responsibility. I had 4 cars on my neck, that I needed to sell here. And, that was not
4 cars from your father's shop.
Yes, those were Porsches that I brought from our shop and sold them here. It took me about 5 months, and it was a good time that I lived here and learned a lot about LA. Yeah, and I think it has pretty much casted also my future because, this part of the world was not known in Germany at that time. It was the frequent travel. Like today, you hop in a plane, you go for a couple of days of vacation to LA. That didn't exist.
No, it was like the Indiana Jones map where you had to make like 19 stops to get here.
Yeah, it almost was like that. Yeah. I landed that trip first in Gander.
Okay.
And what is it called? Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Right.
That's okay. Wait, let's go further back than that.
Yeah.
So your father started a shop in 1939.
In 1939 was the beginning of Auto Ruf.
And Auto Ruf was
a general garage fixing anything that had wheels.
Okay. And then I read a story that your dad had an RV or a bus of some type, and a Porsche blasted by him on the highway and proceeded to spin out and crash right in front of him.
Yeah. See, my father built his own tour bus, and that impressed me as a kid. Big deal,
Was it like a fun RV tour bus, or was it a work vehicle?
It was a work vehicle, but he used it only for fun charter tours on the weekends.
Okay. Didn't he sell a couple of them to like a tour company or just one?
No, he only built one car, one bus. And it was built like a Mercedes 0321H. That was the first model with the rear engine,
Okay.
Yeah. And it took him 1 year, and after 1 year the bus was ready, and he used it from I think it was 56, from 56 all the way to 65. Okay. And it was a phase in Germany where people didn't have cars parked in front of their homes, If they were lucky, they had a moped or a motorbike.
Just because nobody had money.
Exactly. Okay. There was just, it was not available like today, And so people were happy to go on a tour with my dad on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
And in one of those tours, a Porsche passed him, and it was a Carmen hardtop, notchback, known over here as a notchback.
Actually, quite rare. You don't see them.
Rare.
You don't see them very much at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And the notchback ended up in the ditches, and the guy flipped it over twice. Got out of the car. He was fine. My dad took him to the hospital, had him checked out. He said, "Don't worry about the car. I will tow it home, and we'll talk on the phone when you are settled down again." And my dad ended up buying the car.
Yeah.
And we fixed it, and we became Porsche drivers, and that was our introduction into this world.
There's a Carmen notchback right there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
They're really they almost look a little too Volkswagen-y. Now, to look at them now, they look a little off, but they're rare and
but
cool.
The philosophy is great, and the great thing about the notchback was you had a fantastic view, especially to the back when you needed to park the car. It was like you were wearing a petticoat,
Yeah. Tell me that car is still in your family.
It's cool looking.
I do not have the original car from that time, but I have one of these models.
Okay.
Yeah. In
So
the collection.
was that the beginning of your love of Porsche and the families, or was it later with racing or something?
No, my father fell in love with this little car, and so did I. Of course, I was 13, so imagine a kid with 13. It was.
Yeah. Did he let you drive around and stuff at that age?
Of course. He allowed me all of these things,
What was like the coolest car you drove at the youngest age?
That was the one.
That was it? Okay,
That was
so,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that-
Porsche at 13.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. Not a lot of people get the better one than that.
And a year later, I had the experience of listening to the sound of the 911 the first
Wow.
time. Yeah.
I apologize.
Sure.
Wow, that is so awful of me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But first, I must tell you the incentive why we wanted to do another Porsche and have more Porsches. It was after we had this 356 for about, I think, 9 months. We were driving in Munich. We were going on the Leopoldstrasse, which is one of the fancier streets where the young people hang out. A young man comes and asked us to stop. He wanted to talk to us. We rolled down the window and he said, "I need to talk to you. I would like to buy your car."
Just stopped you on the street and asked about
Stopped
it.
on the
Yeah.
street. So we stopped. We went to a little coffee shop after he looked at the car and he said, "How much would you sell it for?" My father picked a high number.
Yeah.
And he agreed. And he
There
said,
you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never happened to me in my Jetta, I'll tell you what.
Well,
You can pick, and now you picture the movie montage right there.
Yeah.
There's Alois Sr. holding a stack of cash, and he's zooming in with the halo going, "Oh."
no, it got better. We went to his apartment, and in a candy box, he had the money in cash.
Nice.
This on a Sunday. So the guy was actually dealing with Porsches, and he financed his studies this way.
You said the guy was actually dealing, and I was like, I knew it. With Porsche.
And he had a Porsche. He had a Reuter Coupe, and he loaned it to us to drive home. And we had the money, but we didn't have the papers of the car, of course, because we were not ready to sell.
That's funny.
It was the trust was just amazing. And my dad said, with these Porsche people, something is totally different. They have a different mindset. They have a different way of thinking.
And this is even back then.
Wow.
This was
Yeah.
not a
1963.
new phenomenon. Yeah.
But at that time, you must not forget, it was a very, very small community who drove Porsches. It was. I mean, the 356 was the one and only model.
And how many a year of those were they building?
Oh, they were building at that time maybe 2,000 cars per year.
4 digits.
Yeah, 4 digits.
Wow.
And 70% went to the States already at that time.
So if you saw
Wow.
someone driving
Yeah.
one, it was a special thing at that time.
It was very special.
Yeah.
It was very special. Yeah.
I miss that. That's the one thing about Los Angeles is I miss a lot of that stuff being special. You see everything here, and you don't even look at it twice. I kind of miss it being special.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a thing. Imagine seeing a Countach drive by for the first time or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, you were probably there. What was it like to see a Countach? What was it like to see a Countach drive by?
For me, it was the Mura.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, that was probably right. That was just after
that
this
was,
Porsche
That
thing.
was in the end of 60s, yeah. But we don't want to sidebar this not too much with the Mura. That is another experience. But coming to Porsche again, and so we bought a 911, and that was in 1965.
Oh, one of the first cars.
One of the first
Yeah,
cars. And we had good experience with this car. We loved it. We sold it again for a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go back in the history book. In 1964, I was with my dad in the car on a very rainy day in April, and we were passed by a Porsche, and it took me a while to figure out what it was. We were in a slow car. It rained cats and dogs, and here comes this car and squirts water over us like crazy because he was doing about 100 miles, which was very fast at that time, in
Still
the
pretty
rain.
quick, yeah.
And the tires were this small, so
yikes.
he could do that, And later I learned that this was a prototype called Quickblau that they had at Porsche, and it was one of the important test cars they had.
Interesting.
Yeah, nobody knew the name of the car. There was
What
only...
what does the name translate into?
Well, Quickblau means quick, like fast, and blue.
Blue,
Quick
okay.
blue. Quick
Okay.
blue, yeah, quick blue.
Was it blue?
Because it was a
Okay.
blue car. It was, what you call it, enamel blue.
Okay.
Enamel blue. It was a 356 color.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that sort of royal blue.
Yeah,
sort of,
like
right?
you could say, yeah. Mhm.
Enamel blue.
Enamel blue. Mhm.
It's a very pretty color, actually.
Yeah.
Tim will get it.
And I told my dad, this must be the new model that is coming out this year. And in '63 they showed the prototype of the 901, and then there was a hobby magazine. Hobby magazine is something like Popular Mechanics over here, And they already showed a glimpse of the new car, and they said it's most likely the name of the car will be the Type 2000 because it had 2 liters of displacement, and Porsches always were named by their displacement.
Yeah.
1100, 1300, 1500, 1600, and so on. And then later we learned that they called it 901, and the rest of the story.
Of course. Yeah.
All of that. Sure.
Yeah.
The so it started also with an accident. Their name giving,
Right. So when you bought that 65, it seemed like you and your father's MO was to buy broken cars and fix them. So
exactly.
was the 65 crashed?
65 was crashed.
Oh,
and we
okay.
fixed it. We fixed it. Yes.
Oh, nice. So they had bad drivers back then too, just crashing.
Well, it
old tires.
It was not unusual to crash an early 911 because the car had a mind of its own, but that was commonly known,
Of course.
So at what point did it go from just fixing and flipping these cars to I want to make them go faster?
We made a name as a Porsche specialist, and that took about 5 years, and people, it was automatic referral from the customers and said, okay, go to this guy, they understand Porsche and so on, because the Porsche specialists at that time were very rare.
Yeah.
And the Porsches were fixed usually in Volkswagen centers.
Uh-huh.
They were always connected.
So so the appeal of having a Porsche specialist separate from those lowly Volkswagen people. Yeah. I don't want to deal with those people. No, I want my separate guy.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Do you guys still today just do service?
We still do. We make restorations, we make collision repair, we make service. Everything that we did already at that time, we are still doing today.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And then we just jumped ahead about 30 years, but the manufacturing of vehicles is just another thing.
Yeah, we came to this manufacturing our cars in the early 80s. And what happened is in the 70s, there was a very, very big turmoil amongst the Porsche enthusiasts because the 911 was supposed to die.
Yeah,
they wanted
the 928 was supposed to take over.
Exactly.
How laughable is that now? I mean, when you drive a 928 and you go, well, this is nice, but that's what you're going to replace this with, and you expect people to buy that? I mean, Jesus.
That move just didn't go. It didn't match.
That was never going to fly.
No. And then the real enthusiasts, the diehards, they would come step up and say, hey, can you build me a car in 3 years from now if we buy a body shell and all the bits and pieces? Can we do another one in 6 years?
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Can you build me?
Yeah.
Can I pre-buy?
And what are we going to do when nothing's available anymore and no body shell, no nothing? And then I say, well, then we're going to build the 911.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And at that time, we made a move like we brought the RUF Turbo number 1, which was the first RUF chassis numbered car. Mm-hmm.
Which was a 930, right?
Which was it was not a 930. The 930 was not even available at that time yet.
What year are we talking about here?
The 930 came out in 75, late 75.
And what year was the first RUF chassis?
We worked on that car in 76 to 77, and in 77 it made the press, the Auto, Motor and Sport, which is the German number 1 car magazine.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends who are in PR now who used to work there. But so, okay, how... So you decided, or your company decided, Porsche might stop making the 911.
Yes.
People want us to keep making 911s, so we had to figure out how to do that. So how do you convince Porsche, the government, anybody, that you are going to continue building 911s even if Porsche doesn't?
Well, while Porsche was trying to reduce the performances of the 911, because they shrunk it down. There was no longer a Carrera available. It was only a 911 SC, and it was downgraded to 180 horsepower. And at that time, we made just the contrary. We opened it up again, and we made a 3.2-liter version, 217 horsepower. We had the top speed and the same acceleration numbers like a Carrera RS 2.7. Because that was always the benchmark.
Yeah.
That was the best 911 at that time.
Yeah. How fast did that car go?
255
kilometers. So it's like almost 160 miles an hour.
Yeah, about 160 miles.
Yeah, that's very strong with a 4-speed, no less, right?
No.
Is that 5-speed?
No. We when you talk about the turbo, that's another story. We developed a 5-speed gearbox for the turbo.
Oh, right.
Which was a big milestone
Before Porsche.
Yeah, because Porsche didn't want a 5-speed at that time.
I remember
they believed in the 4-speed.
I thought that was weird.
Yeah, whatever reasons, but we knew that the 5-speed will enhance the car and makes a total different automobile. And last year of production of the 930 in 1989,
5-speed.
They confirmed us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is where was I? So then we get to Yellowbird and all that, the best road and track high-speed test of all time.
Yes.
How lovely! How lovely that you got that car finished in time.
That was 1987, and that was this whole nickname with Yellowbird happened because it was a very dark, cloudy sky, and it started raining again and off and again and off. It was a very, very bad weather day. And most of the cars had dark colors, and the photographer was mad because he couldn't shoot the cars properly, And at that time, there was no electronic work to be done.
Yeah.
It had to be made in film. So they loved strong color cars, like red. And we almost painted our car red.
Redbird sounds good too. I like red. Redbird's fun. It doesn't have quite the zing, but it's pretty good.
The color of Angry Birds.
Yeah, but in 1987, yellow was totally out. Nobody had a yellow car except the German postal service. Yellow was completely gone.
Everyone took themselves very seriously in the car painting world.
Right, yes. So we painted it yellow, and then the photographers of Road and Track and the editor, they were just playing with names and words and joking around, and suddenly they came up with the name Yellowbird. And
lovely!
This is how the name came, and the name still sticks today.
Do you own the trademark to that?
It cannot be trademarked.
Oh, okay. What was that car like to drive? Actually, no. Before we get to that, first, okay. So you had an SC, and you thought, all right, Porsche's ruined this car. Let's fix this.
Yeah. That was called SCR.
SCR.
We fixed it. Yes.
Okay. And then after that, I think you guys kind of developed a sort of ethos to how your cars went, sort of the narrow body aerodynamic. Right. So can you want to describe what that ethos sort of was at that period?
To be the underdog, to be completely the wolf in sheepskin. Mm-hmm. That was the idea of the car. And the Germans think very much this way.
They debadge all their stuff.
They debadge the cars also. So that was the first run, 306 or 186 miles per hour. That was also the first road and track high-speed event. And then the second one, we came with the CTR, and we did the famous 211 miles per hour.
And CTR's Carrera Turbo Roof? Is that what that is?
It means the CTR stands for Group C, Turbo Roof.
Okay.
Because the engine was our first twin-turbo engine, and we used the same or similar technology like they used in the 962.
Oh, okay.
Because that was Porsche's first twin-turbo. But there was no street car with a twin-turbo at that time from Porsche.
Huh.
And the only...
the 930s had one.
Yeah. They were all single turbo.
Yeah, they were all single.
They were all single turbo.
I didn't think about that until right then. Yeah,
so that's probably why, because your cars have had really good acceleration as well. It wasn't just way boost.
The acceleration was amazing.
Was a lot better with twins.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. Better response,
Yeah.
From the low from the low end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what? Remind me again. What was actually their first model that was where it was a roof manufacturer offering? Was it the CTR?
The very first was in the year 1974.
Okay.
That was a car that looked very much like Carrera RSG, the 3-liter. Mm-hmm. Only 60-some cars were built of that car from Porsche.
Yeah.
And we built our own version of that car.
What's it called? What was the model? For Tim to get a picture.
RSG.
RSG.
That's more like an internal name. You would have to go maybe to Carrera RS30 1974.
Just for the folks at home.
Yeah, okay.
So what does it actually, did the government or Porsche or anyone put up a fight to you guys becoming a manufacturer?
No. Also, I must say in the early 80s, we... became an official car manufacturer. Yeah. And that was done on terms that we agreed with Porsche, that we need to do that also to separate that we are our own entity also for liability reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they become your chassis supplier or something like that to that effect.
Yeah, you could say that.
Bodies in white or
Bodies
something
in
like
white.
that.
That's correct.
Cool. So are you now? Let's talk. In the 80s, are you taking apart? Are you being delivered complete cars, taking them apart and rebuilding them, or are you casting your own engines and really starting from scratch with this stuff?
No, we didn't casting our own engines at that time. No. But we were using Porsche components. Sometimes it had to be a complete car that had to be taken apart, or it was bodies in white. Most of it was done with bodies in white.
And then you would buy engine blocks and heads, and mix and match as necessary.
Yes,
yeah,
correct. Yeah.
And would you be able to use Porsche componentry, but from other Porsches to sort of mix and match for OEM reliability, or were you going with crazy aftermarket race car stuff?
No, we never did that because we always wanted to make sure that the image of the Porsche car is kept clean. And that there is nothing that could hurt the Porsche image. Anything we wanted to do was to be done in a way that it will only enhance and will not be in a negative headline.
Right.
Yes. And there were occasions when, like the world's fastest cars, it was a RUF, but imagine it would have been a Ferrari that won.
Yeah.
It was better that the RUF wins than another competitor because we see ourselves still part of this whole family.
Yeah,
of this
they get
community.
the brand association.
The brand association is there.
Of course, totally.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, see it like AMG or Mercedes. No.
So when you are stuffing the giant turbo motors into the narrow body cars, what kind of issues come up in making that work?
Well, there were issues how to fit all the big components, how to make them fit and make it snugly, but we managed to do all of that. Sometimes the fenders had to be widened a little bit, but you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, you just do it all
very,
stealth.
very subtle.
All stealth, yeah.
So how many of those early cars did you build?
Well, we have always had about an output of 15, 20 cars at that time per year.
Okay.
And now today we are at 30 cars.
You think most of those cars are still on the road? Do they come back
most
and
of them,
visit you for
they
service?
always pop up again someplace.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Some
of them have to be restored, which we do,
Do you see really high mileage ones sometimes?
Yes, especially that narrow body car that you mentioned that made it to 400,000 kilometers.
Stop it.
Wow.
Which
it's
car?
Now a collector. This
a Yellowbird?
No, the dark blue one, which was the top speed car for world's fastest cars.
The first
Volume
time.
1 in 1984.
That thing had 400,000 kilometers on it?
400,000 kilometers.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
It's in England today.
Really?
Yeah.
How great is that? That must be very satisfying.
And we have a customer in our neighborhood. He has one of our cars. He has it at 300,000.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is the car?
The car is 12 years old.
Oh, so it's a modern car.
It's a modern car. It's
like
a water cooled.
It's like a 996 or something?
996 based, yeah.
I drove one of those. The R Turbo, is that what it was?
Yes, that's correct.
The nomenclature?
Yep.
Holy hell, it was like the 600. It
Exactly.
was so fast.
Right.
That thing, I'm not a huge 996 fan, but that thing was a nutter. It was really, really
That's
wild.
what they do.
Yeah.
Are you an air cooled?
I'm not a snob about it. I like both. I just think of all of the generations, I think the 996 is my least favorite. I think the inputs are a little weird. I like the 997s a lot and the brand new stuff a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I have an air-cooled car. I have an 87.
Oh, nice.
We're doing a safari car. Actually, out of it.
That's great.
Have you seen the roads around our studio? You need to offer a
You need
vehicle.
safari.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
You can go to the Baja.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
With a little roof engine work.
Yeah,
you
sure.
get like 600
Yeah. Of your cars in the past, of your earlier cars, what was more your favorites to drive?
Well, I always liked light cars. That's very important, and it has been.
You can't power around that.
No matter how strong the engine becomes, it's not the same like a light car. This is why we are now at 1,200 kilos with our new car, the car that we drove here.
Yeah, I want to get to that.
And
we'll get there in a second.
All right. Okay. Sure. Okay. Fine. No, I like light cars. The early 911s were great. Even the SCR that we did 40 years ago was a lightweight car. And that was one of the reasons why it performed so well. With only 217 horsepower, which is an output like a 2.7 RS had. But we kept the body light. We put no interior in the car. We made it very, very simple and very Spartanic.
Yeah.
And it did very well. And there are people who love this simplicity. You know?
The old light cars are really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys get asked to do vintage builds still? Like, if I asked you for like an old Yellowbird, could you build me one? We
couldn't build a Yellowbird, an original one, because we are protecting also our numbers that we built the cars. And some of the components, like the engine management system, is no longer available today.
Right.
You know?
But you could forget that, not a copy of that. But if I wanted an 80s car or a 90s car from you, you guys would do it?
We have always done that. And 2 years ago, we built a 964-based car with the long nose look, and it turned out really beautiful.
Cool.
A very special engine in it.
Huh.
And it went to a country where no catalytic converters are needed. So.
Goodbye, bro. Habibi, look what I got.
Are you? And your father, were you kind of self-taught with hot rodding and modifications?
Very much self-taught.
Okay.
And the courage to do the things that we're doing today came from that doing what my father did, because my father brought 2 steel beams in. I was 5 years young, and he said, "Look, boy, we're going to build a bus with that." I couldn't imagine. But a year later, we were running this bus. We were driving.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Just creating something from nothing.
Have no fear of anything. This is the best.
I saw a thing that said you had your engine builders build their own workshop. They built your building.
That's correct.
That's like they built their own factory by hand.
Yeah,
that's very still
cool.
the building
we have guys in the company that are 40 and more years in the company, and they know how to work with bricklaying, because they did it. We built the first building, the first factory with our own staff, and we're very proud of it.
Right, they were able to design and optimize it for what they needed and the space they needed.
Yeah, we built everything the way we needed it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How big is your facility now today?
Well, these are basically 2 buildings. We call it the Works 1 and the Works 2. There's a street and a roundabout in between, and I think if you want to know the feet, the square feet, let me think. It's about 5,000 square meters.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's times 9.
Is it 9 or 6?
I think 9.
9?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. 45,000 square feet. It's big.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah,
you might say the size of a Walmart. If you're in America.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In America, that's a Walmart or a Costco.
A Walmart.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You're fortunate you don't have to deal with Walmarts. So tell me about, I'm family friends. My father was the president of Ralph Lauren for 20 years, so I know Ralph, and I've been to his house. And Ralph is a real roof enthusiast.
Yes.
And he has multiple 80s cars. He's got a turbo coupe and a convertible.
Yep.
And he has one of those bonkers CTR 3s.
2 of them.
Oh, yeah. Did he get a second?
He got a second one.
I only saw the one that was like a rose gold colored, like an off champagne color. Or is it?
It's more like a pure silver.
Is it pure silver?
It's pure silver. He wanted to have the color like if you cut.
Isn't that it? It's that color, right?
Yeah, that's aluminum.
Maybe it caught the light a certain way that I thought
probably.
It looked,
if the sunlight hits it, then it comes in a rose color.
So tell me about this thing, because I've seen these in person and they are nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's our top-notch vehicle that we did as a mid-engine car. And coming back to Ralph Lauren, we got to know each other in 1985 when we put a RUF 5-speed gearbox in his 930.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first enhancement and also the engine upgrade. And in 1987, we built him a turbo cabriolet.
Okay, yeah. So the black coupe and then the black convertible.
Right,
I've seen those cars. They're still in ace shape. Those things are
absolutely.
Nice.
The boys there that take care of them.
They know how to polish black in that garage.
Everything. Yes, they do. They do. Yes, and then he loves the shape of the CTR 3. And he says this car reflects purity and a beautiful shape. He says it's his favorite car that he drives.
He has interesting taste. He got in Colorado, right? We can drive all real fast at the ranch.
Exactly,
Have you been out to the ranch?
No,
yet?
not yet.
You need to call that favor. I've been. It's nuts. It's worth going, and the roads are spectacular. Yeah, bring the yellow car out there. The roads are spectacular.
Okay,
it is fantastic. So, real quick, what are some of the specs of the CTR 3 Club Sport?
It's 777 horsepower and has a 7-speed double clutch gearbox.
Didn't the early car have the Tiptronic?
No, the early car had a sequential mechanical shift.
Oh, wow.
You would only push forward and pull.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so now you use PDK.
Now we use double clutch gearbox.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a really cool shape and presence to it.
Yeah, the car has what many cars are missing today because there's too much design done in the sense that they're carving into the body. It has very round, feminine shapes. When you see the repetition of the front curve on the front fenders is going in the rear fender again, and the cabin has a very special, unique look. The way the cabin is shaped, and the shape of this car came from Dr. Freeman Thomas, whom you probably know. Also, he's a famous car designer.
I know the name. Remind me. What else did he do?
Well, the most famous car that he did in his younger age was the TT. The
Audi TT.
Audi TT.
The Bauhaus one.
There's definitely
Oh, yeah.
The original one, of
the
course.
First one.
Yeah,
the first one. Yeah.
The first one, yeah.
Oh, that's a classic.
Exactly.
We were just talking about that on another show with the baseball glove stitching.
Yes.
The baseball glove leather. That was great.
Exactly.
I mean, you can definitely see some similarities between these two.
Yeah.
Those kind of matching fenders on each end. I would say.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
How
correct.
much Cayman does that vehicle use?
Zero Cayman. We are using the front end of the 997 911. And from the center of the car, we're building our own frame.
Everything.
All the way to the back.
Everything.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Bird cage and independent suspension with push rods and
I'm sorry I said Cayman. I apologize.
No.
Just the glass and the roof structure and the doors look like they could be.
The windshield is special. It's not fitting from a Porsche. The side glass is also different. That does not exist in a Porsche. The only thing you could interchange are the doors.
The doors. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And the taillights. The taillights are coming from the existing car.
Okay.
At that time, we didn't want to go to our own taillights because that's very, very expensive. I learned that now with the new one that we are here.
Yeah, homologating a new tail light.
Not only homologating, just to have them produced.
Really?
It's a very.
What is
very
that? Tell me, as I've never done that. What is that process like to have a tail light made for your car? Seriously,
it goes over 2 years. And you have to find somebody that you can actually afford to do it, because if you go to the very big OEM companies, you cannot afford it.
Or you need to order 20,000.
3 million euros for a taillight development. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
This can only be done for cars that are mass produced.
Yeah.
And when you look at the collector cars today, like a 550 Spider, which is a car for many millions, and any Ferrari of that time, they were
Stuff
using
from the 60s.
Yeah. They used taillights. They were standard. They come from a Fiat 500.
Yeah, it's just a round.
From a 1100 Fiat or something like that. There were standard lights that were available. They worked on a truck or whatever, and they used that on those cars as well. And it was accepted. You know?
Yeah.
And the rest of the shape around it makes you think, wow, what a great taillight.
Yeah,
design. It's like, no, that's a round light.
Yeah, no. So do you end up what about maybe, someone like a Christian von Koenigsegg? Would you go to wherever he gets his taillights made, or?
I don't know where he has his taillights made. I don't know. I know Christian, and we know each other for many years.
You guys seem like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Do you let each other drive each other's cars?
Oh yes, definitely.
What do you think of the stuff he's doing up there?
I think he's doing great stuff. It's really, I have great respect.
His cars are great.
Respect what he's putting together, and he was stubborn enough to make it there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I admire that. That's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So do you just have to end up having each of these taillights made one by a very small shop?
Small company. It's basically a company that makes show cars taillights.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they have to change it. You have to bring it to the standards that they are good for TÜV approval. You know, they have to make it through the TÜV.
Yeah.
And we are there now.
It's incredible. Wow. So tell me about the new car that you drove here, which is yellow.
It's yellow.
SCR?
No,
I'm sorry.
This is the CTR.
CTR. There's a lot of alphanumerics I need to work with. I'm sorry.
I looked up the list of roof cars in the past, and there's just a lot of alphabets.
Yeah.
You know what you need? You need Johan Denishan to come work his magic. He ruins brand recognition for anything that guy touches.
Just add a Q.
Oh my God, make them all Qs. So here's the new car, the new CTR.
Yeah, this was last year in Geneva.
Yeah,
what you see here.
Is that the physical car that's outside?
That's the physical car.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was like a non-working show concept or something.
We made our car run.
So there is no Porsche in that, right?
You could replace the windscreen from a Porsche and roll up windows off the doors. That's the only
That's
thing.
it.
That's it.
That's it. The rest is new.
Yeah. So it's what's so interesting about this car is that it's like, what did you change? What do you not change? So why don't you run down exactly how you build this thing?
You know, Butzi Porsche, when he designed the 911, he made such an iconic model that is the best sports car in the world. There's no doubt about it. And whatever you do to that body is, in general, only a minus. You can, it doesn't get better, you know. And we are very happy to say that we did something where we did not disgrace this beautiful body of the car. You can see that it's modernized. In between, we have seen many modern cars. Look at the 996, 997 generation, 991. But they were bigger cars.
Yeah.
And they constantly grew. And we wanted to keep and preserve what our CTR originally in 1987 was. And so therefore, we have kept and preserved the cabin.
Isn't it interesting how in the last 30 years, the cars have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
but there's not that much more like useful space.
Well,
you can't fit any more people in it than you could back then. I mean,
That's true.
But you must give credit also for making the cars larger makes them also safer. You know, because you have more crash zone, and when you look at the dashboards, the way they are now in the newer cars. But the question is, for this small number of car lovers that we build our car, they want the original size, and they love that, and this is also the best way to keep the weight down. You know, the smaller you make the car, the weight is also less. But what we did is we made a complete new underwear, which is the monocoque chassis in carbon fiber.
Here we look here, Tim. We have actually
awesome.
We have a printed visual.
Yes,
give us a shot on
with a steel frame in the front and rear for crashability.
So it's a carbon tub.
It's a carbon tub,
and then what? Extruded aluminum.
No, it's not aluminum. It's steel.
Oh, it's steel. Okay.
We chose lightweight steel because at the end it was lighter than the aluminum. Because aluminum at the end, if you would have used aluminum, you would have had very strong structures.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So then we put the whole skin around this frame, what you see here, which is again a carbon skin.
Every panel's carbon?
And every panel is carbon, and every panel is different. We gave the car more shoulder. And
say that again. Oh, every panel is different from an original 911.
From an original 911,
okay,
yes,
okay,
yes,
sorry.
exactly. Because our original CTR had pretty much the chassis of the 911 Carrera at that time in the 80s, you know. And the idea of bringing out the curves of the door to give it more shoulder, those were ideas again, and that was input of Dr. Freeman Thomas. He lives the 911. He loves the 911.
Yeah.
Of course, he loves our car.
Do you find it intimidating to take on the responsibility of redesigning a 911, but using restraint and also knowing what needs to be changed and what doesn't? Or
you know what? Like I said before, we managed to change the car, gave it a new look that people don't even realize. They will have to stare at it for a while until they figure out what is different.
If it drove by, you might not realize
you
that
will
it wasn't
not realize
an old
it.
car.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at photos of the original right now, and it's really, really subtle. But it's really
everything's
good.
very subtle, and it is in a way that you cannot say, "Oh, the car has been heavily modified and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's out of proportion." All of this has been fixed, and that has been done with a lot of good, what we call in German, Fingerspitzengefühl, the feel in your fingertip, to make sure that nothing is there that will to be to a dislike to the Porsche community, and also the factory. And we are very happy that we produced this car in this look, and it is an iconic car.
Yeah.
It
Well, what's
has
so
to stay as
interesting
such.
about it is, as I read, it's the same length as my 87.
Exactly.
But it's
Yeah.
what's like 6 inches wider, right? 7
It's
inches
wider.
wider.
It's wider than a 959, but it doesn't appear. It
Yeah.
is wide.
Yeah, like it's remember like what General Motors did with the C4 Corvette, how they made the ZR1 wider but did it from the middle so you
Right.
couldn't tell unless you looked at the license plate frame. It's like that.
It's a great way to explain it. Instead of having big fender flares, it's just everything's moved out because the fender, like the front fender above the front wheel, it's relatively vertical. There's no giant curve or like kind of I don't know pronounced added on piece.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what is the engine in this?
The engine is a 710 horsepower water-cooled engine, and it's the layout of the original Metzger engine. That we used.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a 3.6?
It's a 3.6.
Oh, cool. Nice. And actually when
Twin
you
turbocharged. of
when you
course.
pulled up, one of the things I noticed was it's actually a 7-speed manual.
Yes. it's a
Well, why
7-speed
did you go
manual.
with the 7-speed instead of the 6-speed?
We would have had to change the gearing dramatically to reach that top speed.
Ah, so does it reach top speed in 7th?
In 7th.
Oh,
It's not an
wow.
overdrive.
It's
This is
not an
cool.
overdrive.
It's not an overdrive.
So that's
I like
that
that.
gearbox is not just out of a newer Carrera or something like that?
No.
That's
No,
yours.
It's ours. Yeah.
Oh.
It's our gearbox.
Oh. So what is the top speed, can you say?
225 miles per hour.
Jesus. Have you done it?
I almost did it, but I didn't do the 225 miles yet because we are going to a high-speed circuit in the fall of this year.
Do you rent it for yourself? Is that how it does?
Yes, we need to do that.
That's can I come? Can I just if I just fly myself and can I just show up? I'll bring Sam Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, you met Sam. Sam
Oh, you gotta
came
do
out,
it.
right?
Sam wrote the story.
Yeah, I know. He did such a good job.
He's great. He's great.
I read Sam Smith's story on Road and Track. I race slow cars with Sam Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people working today. He gets
You know.
carte blanche to do anything you want.
No. I'm also happy for Road and Track that he's there.
Yeah,
It's great.
I write for them too, but .com. I'm still working on my way into the print book.
Okay.
Wow. So what about horsepower these days? Seems pretty easy to come by. You know, it's not unusual to see. You know, at a certain durability cycle, I agree. There's a challenge, but like, you know, you see a lot of tuners can make 700 horsepower in various platforms these days, and 800 horsepower.
Sure.
What do you think is the future of this level of horsepower?
Well, I think the most important is that you have reliable horsepower. And the stigma in the United States for our cars was when we offered an engine with 350 horsepower, then the customer would say, yeah, but there's a guy down the street, he offers me 500, you know?
Yeah.
Then I said, well...
That still happens.
Yeah, it still happens. That hasn't changed, you know? It has to be serious, and it has to be durable, and you have to feel the horsepower. Because if you feel that horsepower between 6,800 and 7,500 RPMs, then you didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
You know?
You need an actual power band you can work with.
And what we call in German the popometer. You know, popo means your butt.
Yeah, ass dyno.
Your
we
ass
use.
dyno.
Yeah,
your
that's
ass-
what we use here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Popometric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another
It'd be
story.
a good custom
you know?
license plate, wouldn't it?
It would.
You know, the test on the dyno is one thing. Of course, we have dynos and we know how the engines perform, but then the final test comes from your popometer. You
Yeah.
know, when you drive it,
You
how
like
usable
to-
is it?
oh,
How
sorry.
drivable is it? You know,
You engine dyno and then you chassis dyno every car you build, right?
we engine dyno mainly.
Oh,
Chassis
okay.
dyno is only for adjustments, and I tell you why. Because the chassis dyno, you must imagine, you are trying to have a power output that you're putting on wheels to a steel roller. That comes to, like, let's call the number 700 horsepower and that torque. In reality, when you drive, you have all that wind for the cooling, which you cannot really produce artificially, you know, no, how hard you try.
Yeah.
And therefore, the chassis dyno, I think, is not the way to go. The engine dyno is the most important. And then the real chassis dyno is on the Autobahn.
The popometer?
The popometer on the
Yeah.
Autobahn, yes.
We
We have a chassis dyno. We do have one. You know?
No, I always thought, because I've driven big power cars of all different manufacturers, I always thought, and I can't just credit it to weight, that Porsche power typically, a 700 horsepower Porsche and a 700 horsepower Mustang are not the same level of performance at all.
No.
So the question I was leading to is, what do you find the drivetrain loss to be in the Porsches? Typically, it's low, right?
It's very, very low.
It's very low.
Yeah, drivetrain loss is very low.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all right. That's all. Long question with a one-word answer.
Do you? What is it? What is it that you love about driving? Like what aspect? Because your cars are smaller, they're traditional, kind of more traditional in that way. So they give people that this is a lightweight car I can place where I want because of the size. But the power is what I would call kind of modern.
I want to feel the lightness of the car, and I want to feel the light-footedness, because when you go to the throttle, that there is no time to wait, that it immediately responds, and that is very important to me.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is what I call drivability. I don't rev the engines up to the red line. This in a turbo engine, you don't need to do that. You go to 4,000, maybe 5,000, and then you shift to the next gear, and it continues going the same way. And this is the fun part.
Just riding the wave of the turbo torque.
Exactly. Riding the wave.
I enjoy that as well. I feel you. Is that? Are you a backcountry roads driver? Or are you a racetrack driver? What do you enjoy?
Backcountry road driver.
Yeah. And do you think your cars really?
I didn't
reflect
go
that?
racing. In my past, I did very little of racing. I only ran a couple of rallies, but I'm not a race driver. I was always trying to stay away from motorsport. Because in our size of the company, you can either do one or the other, but you cannot do both. Because if you go to racing in our size company, then suddenly all the best guys are working on the race car, and the customer car sits in the corner.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
How is it after 30 years of building? I don't want to call them tuner cars, but the fast Porsches, and now your own car.
And we are manufacturer.
Yeah, manufacturer now, but to sort of. The company is sort of considered almost like outlawish for a little while, and now it's been around for long enough that your cars are classics on their own, which must be very satisfying.
That is very satisfying. It makes us very, very happy to see that our cars are picking up in value. Yeah, and appreciated, and this is really, really great. Because,
and that people are seeking them out specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a few of them in LA. You have quite some happy customers here.
Of course, and we visit them. We will be together this week, next weekend, and in the Quail. At the,
that's a RUF.
Alois Ruf reunion.
Yeah. How many cars do you think are going to be up there for that?
I think on the grass, on the green. About 15 cars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What is what's the heavy hitter highlight of that show? The new car?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. We want to show the new car.
Yeah.
We want to show that it actually exists and drives.
Yeah. Well, how many? It seems you've been touring it around. Do you have some proper mileage on it yet?
Yes, it has about 12,000 kilometers.
Oh, that's
on it.
real.
Yeah, that's real.
100%.
And we're driving it since December, shortly before Christmas. We started.
Totally.
Yes, and we drove it in the Mille Miglia. It participated.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
nice.
That was good because the roads were very bad. And now we're to the bad roads in LA.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge here. Do you have nose lift? Hydraulic nose lift?
No, we didn't have it in the car because we tried to save the weight again, because that's another 5 kilos.
You should make it optional for U.S. customers.
We were the first ones who had the nose lift, but we have such a little overhang that I'm trying to get away with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, some of the driveways are just so horrible.
No, L.A., because you notice we don't have proper sewers here. They just cut the gutters into the street. It's anyone who's
but
got
when
a
it rains
Corvette,
here, it really pours. We
when it
know
rains,
that
the car stays home. You don't want to be driving when it's raining here.
Yeah, right.
Zach, I don't know if we didn't actually mention it before. Pull the exterior picture back up, Tim. On the new car, the overall length is the same, but the wheelbase is longer. So imagine keeping overall length the same, but moving the wheels further out to every corner.
I mean, it's visually you can tell, like you said, a very short overhang, and then the back has a real short overhang.
Yes.
It looks really, really good.
Thank you.
It
does look really.
I don't know. There's just like this almost subconscious marriage of modern and traditional.
We had a prototype 2 years ago at the Geneva show, where we didn't make all the tricks to the body to trick your eyes. We just put the same wheelbase, the same length as you see it here. It's 70 millimeters extended.
Yeah.
20 in the front, 50 in the rear, and there you could see when you look closely that something was out of proportion.
Yeah.
This is why we corrected it in our car, and we made the door longer. And
making the door longer is that's the hide. That's the hide. Yeah.
So therefore, this part in the front is called the dog leg, and the dog leg was extended by 25 millimeters.
Oh, the dog leg is sort of the hook angle on the door that hooks around under the mirror a bit.
That's correct, and the dog leg comes from the panoramic windscreens.
Because they're wraparound windscreens.
Look at a 58 Chevy Impala.
They all have. Right.
They all had them.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Best wraparound windscreen is the old El Camino with the rear wraparound windscreen.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, they were great.
What else do you like? I mean, what do you seem like a serious enthusiast. What else do you like besides Porsche? What are you into? Does anything else interest you outside of the Porsche world?
I love cars. I have also other cars from other brands, which I also like.
Like what?
Deux chevaux.
Okay. Well, the old Citroen, they're part of any good collection.
Yeah, Iso Rivolta.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Ferrari, little Jaguar, E-Type and so on. I love these cars. Some of them are just to look at because you cannot drive them really.
I know how that is. It's tough in this city because there's not enough space for that type of thing to have a car you just look at. But I know. I had a DeLorean, so I know what it's like to have a car you just want to look at.
Okay. Good. That's also rare.
Yeah. We had a bunch of people. We got a bunch of fans watching live. If you want to ask a question to Alois Ruf on the super chat, hit us up. Get in it now. We're gonna get to these questions in about 5 minutes, and it looks like we've got quite a lot. So we will we'll get straight to that. What else?
Were you influenced at all by living here in California and then taking anything about hot rodding customization back to Germany, back to RUF?
I watched it. I looked at it. I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't want to do, and especially
good lesson too.
Laughing gas stuff, And
but
it's in America, it's its own culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like the body styles that they do, and I appreciate what is being done. I remember I was in the Peterson Museum last year, and they had a special show for hot rods. Mm-hmm. And when you look at those engine bays, I mean, it's work of art. There's no question.
The
lowriders and the chopped roof cars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much detail work behind that.
Yeah, we have good metal workers here in California.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, but it didn't apply to what we were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time because we were doing our own route. I mean, we didn't go to laughing gas injection and stuff like that an engine lasts only 15 seconds or something like that.
Right.
That's not us, because our fast driving lasts longer.
Yeah.
At least in the past it used to do when the autobahns were freer,
Yeah, well, isn't that amazing? It's really hard to drive fast on the Autobahn now.
It is.
It's a challenge.
You still find some hours, some wee hours, like in a Sunday morning
Early
or Saturday night,
Yeah.
when the trucks are gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here if you're on a nice 3-lane Autobahn, then you can really open it up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you've got the Nürburgring. You've always got the
Nürburgring.
Nürburgring.
The Nürburgring was always there.
Oh my God! Who was driving in the iconic video?
It's Stefan Roser.
Best Nürburgring video of all time, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Must
and
be.
the first one, I think it made the Nürburgring more known and famous outside of Germany.
Yeah, it's like a Super 8 or something. That was some real drive, because he was driving.
His driving
it was
style.
so calm. It was so aggressive and calm.
It's just oversteer everywhere.
What a fantastic.
Yeah.
That will not be so easy with the new car. The new car will not oversteer that easily.
Right. That's something taken out.
Is the now that you've stretched the wheelbase, is the engine really? Is it more towards a mid-engine type vehicle?
Yes, the weight distribution has been improved this way.
Huh.
Yes.
It's such a cool car, man. It's just so like it really works. Are they sold out? They're all sold out?
They're all sold out.
How many are you going to make?
30.
How much are they?
750,000 euros.
Woof.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And they were sold out in probably days, right?
It took
of course.
less than a week.
That's amazing that you could charge €750,000 for a car, and you don't even have to really market it.
No,
you don't
but
even really need to be here. You already got the deposits.
Yeah, but we want to share this with the community.
Of course you do.
Of course. But we will have spin-offs of that car. The first one is the SCR.
Yeah.
with a normal aspirated engine that is coming out also, and so there will be more cars
Now, will that be
are
a
using that
water-cooled?
DNA. Yeah, it will be water cooled.
Water cooled.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
Which engine? What displacement size will that be? Air cooled or water?
4 liter. 4 liter.
Okay.
Engine.
It's gotta be. It's roof. It's gotta be a 4.
That's gonna be
The green.
good.
This is it. Is
This
that
is
it?
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, is that sexy? Pull that picture up, Tim. It's when you take the wing off too. It just.
Yeah.
I love the wing, but like in that green with the wing off, that is hot. That is very nice. All right, Sam's gonna have to bring me to drive this kind of thing. Does that mean that's so dope, dude? I love that. That's fantastic.
Gorgeous.
Wow. How
Okay.
nice is that? And then, can you then use this tub to build a whole line of cars, right?
Yes. With that tub, we can make different models.
Yeah. And do you, what about? Could you make a spider? Because do you need a roof structure?
Theoretically, yeah, it's strong enough for a
Yeah.
spider. Yeah.
That's
The roof Macan.
No, I mean
No.
I'm thinking speedster. That's what my head is going to a speedster version of this body style.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about what companies like Singer are doing with the air cooled stuff? And have you seen Gunther Works as well? They're pretty neat down here in
Gunther
Gunther Works is in Southern California. They're doing 993 based carbon body, 4 liter craziness.
No, these companies are doing great job if you want to go for this type of appearance, and I think they're doing a great job, especially the Singer cars. I have seen some. I have not seen the very new one. But,
the dynamic lightweights.
Yeah.
That'll be up there.
Okay, we'll
They're
see
at
it.
Quail.
We'll see it,
They're
yes.
at Quail every single year. They're definitely going to be there.
Right. Yeah, sure.
It's nice stuff, but I like the direction you're taking with this. That is unlike what anyone else is. It's looking forward.
Yeah, well,
not
we're
backward.
just following our own path. We do our stuff, and we're happy because we have all the customers that we need and who want these cars, and they're being appreciated, and the value is appreciating, and all of this tells us that we must have done something right.
I completely agree. Yeah.
And we're around for a long time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As far as questions go, I'm going to screen these as questions for Alois first, and I will try to get to just random car advice questions afterwards. If for some reason we run out of time and I don't get to people's questions that aren't for Alois, I will save them and get them to the next show. I'm not going to throw anyone's donations away. Is that Joe? Is that where we're starting, Tim?
Yeah.
Right there. Mr. Ruf, what is your favorite car you've built to date, and what do you see Ruf being in 20 years? I think what is the next project has already been answered. The SCR, yeah.
My favorite car is still the CTR Yellowbird, because that was really the peak of all the cars that we built. And now I'm so happy to say that the new one is my favorite car.
It's nice when your newest one is your
Yes,
favorite
sure.
one. We had Steve Dinan on the show. You know Steve?
I know Steve.
And
yes.
we asked him what his favorite car was, and he said the next one. His favorite car is always the next one. That's a man with zero nostalgia. It's very odd because he's built so many iconic cars. He had absolutely no nostalgia for anything old. It was wild.
Well, he loves what is developing. So it's going to get faster and better, and he's just like, whatever's coming out next is going to be better than what we have now.
No, I understand his point, and he's definitely right about that, because we are also continuing, and we're also going to have, to the question, what are you going to do in 20 years?
Yeah.
Hopefully to build cars with combustion engines.
Yeah, right.
And fill the gap for those people who want to have something very, very special that they take out on a Sunday for a drive. I think in 20 years we will still have combustion engines around.
I think we will too.
Yeah.
I think we will too.
Nothing wrong with the electric car. I mean, we were the pioneers. In 2008 we had the first electric car, and we drove it here in LA. This is where it started, and then shipped it to Germany, and everybody was shaking their head. Wow, electric car, this will never happen.
I love electric cars. I think they're really nice to drive in the city. The more crowded the city gets, the more room there is for those cars.
Yes.
The lack of vibration is just so incredible.
Yes.
I hope you're building gas cars in 20 years too.
No, we want to.
Although, have you driven the Panamera Turbo SE hybrid?
No, I have not.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's really amazing what they have figured out how to do. And not that I want to see a 4,000-pound 911, but I know we're gonna, we're gonna see a heavy hybrid 911, but it'll be neat. The way they figured out how to make it, how to do active torque vectoring with the electric motors is pretty cool.
No, it's a large playground now that you can make things happen that are amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tim, can we go back to the next one?
I think everybody's pretty intimidated.
Everyone's intimidated.
Why that? They don't want to ask.
That's funny. What
we're just doing
possibly ask?
We're just doing good interviews.
Yeah.
That we're covering everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to know what on the new car. Are you using any type of traction or stability control systems?
Yes.
Since you're a manufacturer, is that required in Germany?
Not required, but we do it voluntarily. We have ABS.
Well, that's
and we have ESP.
Okay. Yeah, I mean 700 horsepower. You probably. What does that thing weigh?
1,200 kilos.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
That's very, very light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a light car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's like a Miata.
It's really, really light. Yeah. That's amazing. Is that the car, is it supposed to be a good touring car as well? I mean, is it really designed for the extreme driver, or is it designed that it could be used almost every day kind of thing?
You could use it either ways. You can use it as a daily driver, but it does not have large capacity for shopping, for shopping bags.
Is there a front trunk?
There's a front trunk, but it's very little. It's minimalistic. You can take a small, I would say a small roller Samsonite and put it in there. But that's about it.
That's not terrible. I've seen worse. I have seen worse.
Do you make your own engine blocks, heads, and things like that, or do you get those from Porsche?
We make many components our own because they're just different, and some of the components still come from the Porsche shelf.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are some of the new manufacturing techniques like 3D printing and stuff really
is also in
helping
use,
for you?
Yeah, especially for the prototypes.
Yeah.
We did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What other...
What's it like being... you've been a fabricator and a manufacturer for 40 years, 50 years. Mm-hmm. And to go from... we used to have to like carve something with metal, hammer it out, adjust it, sand it down, and now you can design it on a computer and print it and test fit it. Does it just kind of blow your mind a little bit to see where manufacturing technology has gone to?
It blows my mind, but it's also a great help, But we still use the hammer, and we still use the files, and we still know how to work on the car hands-on.
Yep.
To shape something.
Yeah. You have to have both skills, I'm sure.
Both skills are needed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just like, when you were getting started, and just trying to grow a business by word of mouth, and a very high-end, expensive, at the time, niche product,
Yeah.
What kind of patience does that require? And ground level hustle to get the word out and grow a business like that.
It is extremely exciting, that I can tell you. Because you have your ups and you have your downs, and you have to make sure that you always stay high enough.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment where it was like, this might not survive this?
Oh, those moments exist, but you have to be you have to believe in yourself. And you have to continue and say, I can do it. And if it didn't work today, it's going to work on another day. It's
crazy. I mean, it's
really cool.
Yeah, just to wake up and make things and, make the best thing you can and hope somebody wants to buy it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for 50 years.
But for the fact that people want to buy it was basically, I had to like it myself and I could share it with somebody.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that I was not far off when I liked it, then somebody else had to like it too.
Right, because you have good ideas, So
some of them are just logical steps that you're making. It's not like we're inventing the wheel. It is just a combination of things, how we vary them and how we put them together, and it makes it a different product.
Are you offering any packages for the or on any models that are based on the 991 generation 911?
Some, yes.
Oh, you are.
We
Okay, cool.
We have some bits and pieces for that.
Okay. Oh, just stuff.
But we're not going the very, very big modifications that we don't do.
Okay, so that all the extreme is now on this car.
Yeah, but it's our own platform. Like
it's incredible. I was just wondering if it, if your core business needed to be attended to as well.
No, our core business is really basically we do modifications on new models, and so that's still an important business for us. And we do a lot of restoration business.
What? Yeah.
And
What's
more and more roof cars that come for restoration.
How nice is that?
Yeah, that is nice.
I guess you don't have to look very far to get parts.
And the same guys are working on the cars that built them originally.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
This is what the customer loves.
Yeah. But for restoration, are you strictly Porsche now, or are you restoring other stuff as well?
No, only Porsche.
Only Porsche.
Yeah.
I saw you did a 901 for I guess it's a few years ago for I guess it was Pebble or something. It was a blue car.
A blue car, yeah.
Yeah. And have you gotten the opportunity to restore some other like very historically significant cars?
Yes, we have restored now 6 901s in total. And the last one is being completed now. And we have one of those 901s that we restored here in Orange County.
Oh.
Yeah, that car goes to shows as well. Yes.
Oh, cool. A friend of mine actually had a 901 convertible prototype.
I heard about that car. I read about that car.
Yeah, the red. Can you get a picture of it? It's really funny looking.
Yeah.
The 901 convertible. This guy, Myron Vernus, has it, and he has, or had it. He sold it for a lot of money. He bought it when it was worth nothing, sold it for a lot of money, and then I think, he wasn't a super wealthy guy, so in order to, I think, not have to pay taxes on the money, he had to buy other cars as investments, and so he literally bought like 50 other cars.
50?
Like a bunch of cheap cars. Like he loves Japanese stuff, so he imported all this weird Japanese stuff and old Hondas, and he literally turned this one car into an entire collection.
Wow.
This went to Europe, I believe, yeah? This
it's sold for so much money. I think it was $1.2 million or something like that. And that was like 5 or 6 years ago. I bet you we would get 4 or 5 million today.
It'd be funny. He's like driving to work in it, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I live in an apartment, and now I have $1 million. I need to,
to buy like an entire like warehouse to put the stuff in. That's how many. So one of the guys. So of the 30 guys buying your new cars, you must know them. They must all be return customers at this point, right?
Over one half of them.
Yeah. What do these people all have? Insane car collections, and these are going to be their 30th car?
No, not really.
Really?
Not really. You find some that have
come
insane
a little closer
car.
to the mic. Sorry.
Some have insane car collections. That's true. But there are some people that have only 3 or 4 cars, and they pick out what they think is the greatest.
All right.
What they want to.
I mean, I like that because they'll probably drive this more often because if you have 50 cars, I mean, you have to make a schedule.
You can have so many exotic cars and you end up not driving them.
I know. They become more trouble than they're worth after a certain number. Especially if you don't have a lot of places to go. Like I got a bunch of cars, but like I don't have that many places I want to go. So it's a real problem.
All right.
And it's tough to drive around here. Let me a couple of people have questions about cars. Maybe we can give some folks some car advice before we wrap this up. All right. Where are we at the top here? I've owned a manual E60 M5 and loved it, and a Challenger Scat Pack and hated it. Okay, 2 big sedans. Some obvious differences between the two. What is more like the former and less like the latter for $32,000? It's manual and rear-wheel drive. These people want a car that doesn't exist, my friend. You want a Pontiac G8 GXP, which is a car that doesn't exist.
I cannot answer that question.
Yeah, there's not much left, right?
Get like an E92 M3.
Yeah, an E92 M3. I would say a newer M3. I mean, the problem is it's big car, manual transmission, rear wheel drive. You're describing cars that don't really exist anymore.
I mean, if you got a used CTS-V, it's not going to be as nice as the M5. And I think
Chevy
an
SS
E90 series.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Would you suggest a Mercedes 500 SL as a daily driver, like an old one? I drive a 2001 Mercedes SL around town. It's my traffic car. Love it.
Yeah,
it's a great traffic
that's a great
car.
driver for LA.
Good car for going slow.
Absolutely.
If you go slow too, you'll like it. And the occasional time I have to take that car in the canyons, it is a disaster.
Yeah.
Well, if he's in Detroit, he's not turning.
If you're in
much.
Detroit, you're not turning. It would be good in Detroit. Detroit is straight lines and bad roads. Yes, you'd probably like it. Make sure your top works good because it's like $5,000 to replace that. Trade in or keep my Fiesta ST for a C5 Corvette or a 2009 Mustang. Both would be $100 a month cheaper. No, you have a much newer car. Stop it. don't trade in your new car for a crappier older car. I've been through that before. You'll regret it. I promise you. Right?
The C5 is so simple, but when things break, they're expensive.
When things break, I had one of those cars. When things break, they're expensive. Repairs are not Chevy priced. Repairs are BMW priced on a Corvette. And an 09 Mustang will not feel fast compared to a Fiesta ST. Oh man. John ordered a pair of sunglasses. Okay, email me, matt@thesmokingtire.com. We can do that off the show. Explain. Okay, here we go. Someone wants to know what makes the driving experience in a 996 weird. Well, so I say I think 996's drive kind of strange. Alois, I just think the inputs are different from all other 911s before or after.
Yeah,
can you speak to that?
Yeah, they tried to make an entire new 911.
Yeah.
You know? And now in hindsight, we know that
some things hit, some things missed.
yeah, exactly. 997 was the correction.
There it is.
Yeah,
I think that's accurate. Yeah, the shifter feel is a little strange. The pedal feels a little strange. That's kind of it. I just think they're not bad compared to a Corolla. They're nice, but
of course,
compared to the other stuff you can get from Porsche. How many views of the podcast you usually get? You can see it on.
I responded to that in the chat, but we should do the Nate M's questions. Kind of good.
Okay. Oh, I just bought a 9971 Carrera S 4 months ago, but I'm getting bored of it. For shame. Thinking about selling it and buying a Cayman GT4, 997 GT3, or saving up for the next GT4. Will I miss rear engine? What should I buy? Alois, what do you think?
No, the GT4 is a great car.
It's nice.
It's a very nice car. I can recommend to buy that. Yeah, definitely.
GT4s are good, but I hear the next GT4 is going to have a 4-liter. That's why I hear it's worth waiting.
Then it's worth waiting, yes.
The 4-liter is where it's at.
Yeah, sure.
I just drove the Touring, and it was awesome. The GT3 Touring, it's fantastic. What is good and bad turn-in? I would say if you turn the wheel less and more things happen, that's good turn-in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he wants a comparison, but that's it. All right. I think these are not Porsche roof related so much anymore. I promise, folks, if I didn't answer your question, I'll save it to the next show. Can I please drive that yellow car after Pebble for like 5 minutes?
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
I would absolutely love. I don't want to drive it in here, but up and where in the good places.
Yeah, come to Pebble.
It's going to be so fun. Do you go to Pebble often?
I try to be there every year.
Oh man!
About the last 10 years, I managed.
Really?
Yeah.
You do the auction circuit as well. What do you like to do while you're up there?
It's always fun to watch the auctions.
Is it work or fun for you?
It's a nice combination. You know, I say to the people back home, I go on my yearly vacation, and I sell to my family that the business trip is a holiday trip. It's a vacation.
Yeah. It's a bit of both. I mean, it's
always good. It's fun to run into the people and
you sit in traffic and you're surrounded by Le Mans cars. It's just so crazy.
It's amazing the traffic jams what you're sitting in.
I know.
Your neighbors.
You know what? You know Dan Neal? He's a famous writer.
Yeah.
He had the best idea ever, which was he drove a Bentley press car from Los Angeles to Pebble, and then had a Vespa delivered to his hotel in Pebble. So while he was riding around Monterey, no traffic. It was golden. It was it was absolutely genius.
Yeah.
I think next year when I drive my Safari 911 up there, I may throw my scooter on the roof.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Good, man.
We have one more question for you directly. Your thoughts, Mr. Ruf, on supercharging?
We went through supercharging. Supercharging is a way where you don't need to touch the hot side of the engine. That's the advantage. But the disadvantage of the supercharging that we all know is how much mechanical power do you lose by driving that supercharger.
Yeah.
But it is a way of getting more engine performance out, but you don't have this efficiency like of a turbocharged engine.
Yeah.
So we abandoned it again.
At one point, did you actually sell a supercharged car?
Yes, we did.
What did you make that was supercharged?
996.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Was it like a snail, a little centrifugal supercharger?
No, you could call it a mechanically driven turbocharger, one of those.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Maybe I didn't say it right, but I think that's what it was, yeah. Neat. It didn't work out.
No, it was good. There's still cars running, and it's fine, but the spreadsheet in the performance of the engine, and what you're losing first in order to get this extra power is just not efficient enough, and that means fuel consumption. You know?
At the we've got in America, we've got these Hellcats that everyone's got now, and they talk about it. It's a 700 horsepower supercharged V8, and they say it takes 100 horsepower to spin the blower at full throttle. So it is not the most efficient way, but it is. You get good response, especially on a V8 or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in. I have enjoyed our chat.
I enjoyed it.
I'm glad
we were talking. Now we're real petrol heads again.
Yeah.
And where's the pen? Did we get the gasoline, or the petrol that we were talking? Save it. Enough for driving home.
I'm glad that such a legend like yourself is chill and good, fun to talk to. Okay. You're gonna have a great drive up to Monterey. That's gonna be beautiful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'll bother Corey Burns about driving the car when I get back. He said it's gonna be sitting up at their shop for a couple of days. I'm like, let me get that. Let me get that. What else would you like to plug? Anything? It's Ruf since 1939 is your Instagram.
Yes, that's right.
Follow along. And what else?
We continue what we started.
People can find them.
All right.
Automobile.de. Is that the website? Ruf?
Yeah.
It's the link is on his Instagram.
It's on Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that car is going to be awesome. Have a safe drive. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was great fun. I enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Smoking Tire Podcast powered by Shout Engine. Get your own podcast at shoutengine.com. All you need is a computer, a microphone, and someone to talk to, something to talk about. You know how it goes. It's easy. I'll see you next week. Who is on the show next week? Tony Quiroga is on the show next week. Probably going to be talking about Lightning Lap because it's August, right? That's how that goes?
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff.
He's done a bunch of things
to talk about.
Okay, cool. Tony Quiroga next week on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Alois Ruf, thank you for watching. See you guys later.
All right.